So I think everyone can see my screen. So we're going to get started. I want to welcome everyone to our evening's program, Stories of Resilience, a panel of Scranton's refugee communities. Tonight is really an opportunity to celebrate Scranton's refugee communities ahead of World Refugee Day, which is commemorated each year on June 20th. So it's this Sunday this year. My name is Julie Schumacher Cohen, and I serve as Assistant Vice President for Community Engagement and Government Affairs for the University of Scranton. And tonight is a collaboration of the university and our community partner, Catholic Social Services of the Diocese of Scranton. So I'm very pleased to be joined by Sonia Cerner, Program Manager for Refugee and Immigrant Services at Catholic Social Services. And then, of course, we're really pleased to have members of 3 of the Scranton area refugee communities with us tonight. And in just a moment, I'm going to turn to Sonia to provide some further background about World Refugee Day and our local communities and how that relates to the global refugee crisis. And then I'll introduce our panelists. It's really been my honor over these past several years to get to know many of our refugee neighbors here in Scranton, including our panelists, as they have transitioned to life here in the United States and in our community. We've celebrated at Global Taste of Scranton events that have raised awareness and funds and shared stories. And normally we would also be celebrating with World Refugee Day. But in lieu of the in-person event, we wanted to focus on what is really at the heart of any of these initiatives, which is the voices and experiences of refugees. So we're also looking to reflect tonight on what does resilience mean in light of the journey that refugees have made fleeing from persecution, armed conflict, and civil war, in light of policy changes over the last couple of years as US refugee resettlement dropped to the lowest in American history, and as we've all faced the struggles and strains of a global pandemic. When the lockdown first began in March 2020 for the COVID-19 pandemic, it was my refugee friends who understood what it meant to be at a distance from one's family and friends, and they grasped the interconnectedness that the moment required of us all. The university first got involved in refugee solidarity with Catholic Social Services in their work because of the call of Pope Francis in his 2015 speech to Congress that urged us to listen to refugee stories and to respond in ways that are humane, just, and fraternal. And of course, this call and this work is very much ongoing in our community and across the country and really across the world. So as we get started, I just wanted to recall again some of the words of Pope Francis, which is kind of grounding our work in our community. And he talked here, this was the World Day of Migrants and Refugees this past fall. He talked about moving toward what he said, an ever wider we. He said, the truth is that we are all in the same boat, called to work together so that there will be no more walls that separate us, no longer others, but only a single we encompassing all of humanity. So it's in that spirit really that we've come together this evening to listen and to share. Sonia and I will be asking a series of questions and really having a conversation among the 5 of us, but then we'll also invite you to join in as our audience. So if you have a question, feel free to use the chat. And then you'll also have an opportunity where you can ask your questions live, either via the chat or you can unmute yourself, and we'll let you know when we're at that point. We're also recording tonight's panel so that we can share it out as well. So at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Sonia Cerner.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Very good. I'm so glad to see so many friends joining us tonight. We began celebrating the World Refugee Day in Scranton, I think 3 years ago in 2018. Few friends got together and made it happen. Of course, we have the support of the Diocese of Scranton and many dedicated volunteers from St. Gregory Church who helped us to put together World Refugee Day year after year after year for 3 years in Nayak Park. And I believe this became a very lovely tradition. Sadly, we have to break the tradition this year, not to meet in person, but we're happy to hear from our refugee friends today. And we're going to focus on this year World Refugee theme, Together We Heal, Learn, and Shine. And I am confident that we'll be able to get together in the park next year to dance, to have a good time with friends, family, and all of you are invited to join us next year. Next slide, Julie. So Catholic Social Services has been resettling refugees since 1975. In 2004, when I started working for the agency, we resettled only 35 refugees. We continue to increase this number every year until a few years ago, when our refugee resettlement program was paused due to significant decrease in the number of refugees arrival. Currently, we have over than 2,000 refugees, more than 2,000 refugees. My estimation is about 2,500 refugees in Wilkes-Barre and Scranton area. It's very difficult to give you an exact number because many refugees came to Scranton from different states. As well, few of our refugees left to join families and friends in different states. So I think about 2,500 refugees we have here in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre area. And here are the sum of the ethnic groups we have resettled. I just want to mention very quickly that the largest ethnic group we have resettled is the Bhutanese, followed by Congolese, and the third large are the Meskhetian Turks. So in the end, I'd like to assure you that we'll reopen our refugee resettlement program very soon, and we'll rebuild our program stronger and bigger. Next slide, Julie, please.
Sorry. So at this point, I'm going to introduce our three speakers. And I did want to say, I always love that list of all of the countries of all of the refugee communities in Scranton, because it's also a reminder that this city has been an immigrant destination for many years. We can think back to the coal mine eras, but now, of course, it continues to diversify. And also this weekend, which always happens, is that it's also a celebration of our Black community with Juneteenth on Saturday and then World Refugee Day on Sunday. So it's really a wonderful celebration. So actually, let me stop the share for a moment as I introduce our three, and then I will have a couple slides that I'll share for the speakers as they get started. So first, we're going to hear from Ushu Mukelo. He is a political science student at the University of Scranton with particular interest in international affairs. He's a leader in the Congolese community of Scranton, helping his fellow refugees from the Democratic Republic of Congo transition to life in Scranton. And Sonia and I are going to ask a few questions, so we're going to kind of have a conversation, but we'll follow the flow of Ushu beginning. And then our second speaker will be Chandra Sichula. He is the leader of the Bhutanese Cultural Foundation Scranton Association, located in South Scranton at 705 Pittston Avenue. And through this foundation, Chandra organizes numerous events and activities, including recently vaccine clinics and activities with the US Census. And these serve not only the Bhutanese-Nepali community, but people throughout Scranton. And then lastly, but not least, is Anas Allouz. He is a recent graduate of Luzerne Community College, having studied business management technology. He currently works at a barbershop in the Wilkes-Barre area, and he would like to open his own, hopefully soon, right? Inshallah, Anas, as we like to say. And over the past few years, he has been a frequent spokesperson for Syrian refugees in the greater Scranton area. So our first question, we're going to start off with, and we kind of took the theme of World Refugee Day this year with this idea of heal, learn, and shine. So our first question is kind of around that first theme around healing. As you reflect on your experience as a refugee and resettling in the United States, what was the most challenging thing as you made that journey, as you transitioned and when you arrived? What has helped you through that process? So Ushu, you can get us started, and just give me one moment and I'll get the slide back up. There you go.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate all those that have made time to attend this important function. First, I think, let me just give a little bit of a background about myself and where I come from. I'm a Congolese. I was born in South Kivu province of the Democratic Republic of Congo. Unfortunately, because of the wars, To be very specific, the one between 1996 and 1998, we moved to Uganda and became refugees. We lived in a refugee camp for about 13 years. And after that, we, thank God, had a chance of coming to the US as resettled refugees via the US Refugee Admissions Program, US route. In the refugee camp, it was poverty, it was misery, it was endurance. So we do not need any extra lessons on resilience because that's what brings us up. Upon arriving in Scranton, on the question of how we did transition, I think looking at the entire community, I'll speak for myself first and then look, give a little bit of a coverage of the entire community. Me, myself, and my family, we came here and we did not have much of, complications with transitioning because I was a student in Uganda. Uganda is a former British colony. They speak English. So I had that chance of reaching here when I have some English that I spoke, and that made life a little bit easier. Not 100% easier, but maybe 60% easier. Many of our families that came from Tanzania, for example, they teach in Kiswahili, including primary school. They found it very difficult because language barrier was a very big burden to them. Those that came from Rwanda, a little bit the same situation, and we can, we can apply, I think, my experience to other families that came from South Africa, from Namibia, and from Zambia, because those are also places where English is spoken. So language is one of the biggest things that we should look at, because when you reach in a country where English is the language that is spoken every day, it's not just in school, but when you go to a store to buy food, when you go to the hospital, when you go to the gym, when you go to every place that people visit every day, English becomes the main thing. So a difficulty, yes, for many of the elders, many of the people that came here in their, let's say, mid-30s, 40s, and those in their 60s, it was very difficult to learn English as quick as possible. And they still find it very difficult now. So it became a problem in their transition process, And, much as some people did respect the fact that they did not speak English, some thought maybe, they had to put in more efforts. But it's not easy. When you come here, you're at the age of 35, for example, and you have to start learning a language from scratch. That's not something you can just do in one day or two. Secondly, we are not, I think we are not fully equipped when we come here with the knowledge of how the laws, how the legal system works, for example. Sometimes you end up, getting in trouble with how you take care of your children. Some would still want to, whip their children, and the police comes, and that's a problem. That's not the only thing, family, issues that pop up, We come from, I think, patriarchal societies where, a father is a father, a man is a man, and you don't challenge that. So they also have to adjust to all these things, It's a very complicated situation to be in. And it's much as, sometimes I tell Sonia this, you can't just get us here and leave us in 6 months. Maybe 6 months is not enough. We probably need 3-5 years of that follow-up, because, some people find it very difficult. So I think on the question of transitioning, it's also a very bad thing to not mention that many people have been very helpful here. And one of those things that did help us with the whole process was, the organizations that came in, individual volunteers. I've seen Mary O'Brien here. I think Julie with the university has also been very helpful because they did create different programs where people have been, coming to our homes and visiting and helping us with, a variety of things. So yes, the transition is not easy, but I think now with the new administration and what we are seeing, it's very important that the people of Scranton continue to have that heart of welcoming.
Thanks, Ushu. And I'll apologize ahead of time that my slideshow is giving me some trouble. So hopefully it won't keep doing that. But so we're going to move next to Chandra, and still on that first question around the theme of healing and this transition in your journey.
Hi, my name is Chandra. I am the president of Bhutanese Cultural Foundation Scranton Association. Like the topic healing, so we came to US in Bronx, in New York in 2010 through the IRC. At first, when I saw the New York City, I was so surprised. I feel delusion and scared. One day I got lost in subway in Manhattan, and I found my way through the city map. It was, as a new immigrant, it was very difficult to understand the American slang words. I went to ABC Training Center to study CNA. After getting my CNA license, I got a job in nursing home, King Harbor and Multicare Center at Bronx. I used to work like 16-hour shifts, 6 days a week. We were guided by IRC. They used to give us free unlimited Metro card for 4 months and cell phone, clothing, parent and bills. They also provide free job training and provided job. And living in New York City, we were 4 people in our family. I used to work night shift, and my wife used to work like day shift, and my elder daughter used to go to high school at Manhattan, taking 2 different trains, and little one used to go to middle school at Bronx by bus. After my mother and a disabled sister arrived in New York City, we faces many challenges because my mother has dementia and Alzheimer, and because of the old age and with no English language, my sister is disabled and she can speak hardly few Nepali words. We could not speak, we could not continue to work because we had to take care of them. So living in New York, like a New York City, was not our options. So my friend recommended me to move Scranton. And when I visited Scranton, I found how beautiful small city is with a lake area, river nearby, 3 big hospitals in walking distance. It reminded me of my country, Bhutan. By looking all these greeneries, I told myself, I belong here. This can be my home for forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandra. And I will tell you that you were not the only one to have gotten lost in the New York subway, but it's not a fun experience, especially if you're new to the United States. So we all feel that, but yes, we're happy that you're here in Scranton now. And so now we're going to move to Anas, and I will try again here to share the slide without it bumping all over the place. Okay, there we go. Anas.
Yes, hi everyone, good evening. My name is Anas Allouz. I'm from Syria, from Homs. I don't know if you have any background about Syria and what happened there. 2011, the war started there. And my family and I, we spent the whole year during the war facing all what's happened, what's gone on, and the killed, the bombs, all that happened over there. Around 2012, we moved to Jordan, running away from the war. And yeah, we spent around 2 to 3 years there. In the second year, it was a little bit hard for us there because it's not allowed to like work, and a lot of things stopped us because we are refugees. And we received a phone call saying we have a chance to travel to United States. They don't all told us to United States, but in the end of the year, they said to United States. We spent the whole year interviewing and doing background check of us. And then 2015, I came to United States without any English at all. My family and I, we face a lot of like hard time because of the language. The most important thing here, the language, so you can stand up and start building yourself, start building your life. So I decided to start learning English as a second language. It took me a little bit. And recently I just graduated from Luzerne County Community College as a business management technology. Honestly, this 5 years in or more in United States gave me a lot of opportunities, a lot of things, changed my life, how it was and how it came. I never thought it's gonna be like that, because when we left the war, I thought the life it will be end, and that's it. Like we can't do anything else. But since I came and I see here like a nice community, nice people, I try to be like flexible, you know, making friends, making like, I'm like personality, my personality is social. So I make a lot of friends. That helps me to learn English and to know more about the area here, the community. Like that's what helps me to be a part of the community. I try to help as much as I can wherever I get and I start, I think, working interpreter with Sonia in her office. Sometimes she called me to translate to some Syrian refugees here. And finally, I graduate and I am successful with my life here, helping my parents with them stuff because they still have some trouble with them language. So like to leave as a refugee, it's hard in the beginning, but you have to stand and start, you know, building yourself. You shouldn't like just sit down and say, oh, I am a refugee, I couldn't do anything here. No, you have like to just start, you know, that's all you have to do, just stand and start. And I don't want to like make it too long. If anyone have any question, and if you want to ask me any question, you are welcome to ask.
Great, thanks, Anas. And we will get hopefully to have time for more questions in just a moment. So we're going to I'm going to turn things to Sonia for our second question.
Oh, thank you, Julie. I'm always fascinated by stories of my refugee friends, and every time during the World Refugee Day, I reflect and I'm asking myself why I'm doing that for 17 years. That's why, because of my refugee clients. But I have a second question for you guys, and I think you're going to like this one. My question is, what is something important that you'd like your friends and neighbors in Scranton and Wilkes-Barre to know about your country? Something important that you think is important and we don't know. Ushu, can you please start?
I was a little bit stranded. What was the question, please?
The question is, what is something important you'd like your friends and neighbors in Scranton to know about your country?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a good question. I don't know how to answer that question, but I think we have a lot that other people in Scranton can learn from us. In our countries, we are very communal, we share. And I think many of our families, and including myself, I can say this. I've seen a lot of people that are very individualistic. People are not really open to other people. Sometimes if someone finds that you can't speak English, there is a way you're treated with an attitude just because you don't speak. I've seen that. Sometimes they translate for people, and you find that there is a way that person is being treated just because he or she does not speak English. Another good example is the way we live here. You find you have a neighbor, but the neighbor will never knock at your door and say hello. And you're also scared sometimes of not doing that because you don't know. There are plenty of stories out there when where people have gone to people's homes and knocked and they got shot or something happened. We don't want to be victims of all that. So I think much as people are concerned, they should learn something from us, and that is that openness. If you're a neighbor to anyone that comes from Congo, please remember to say hello. And if they do, just know it's something we do. For us, it's normal, so people are very open. And again, if you see someone come to your house and knocks and says wants a little bit of salt for the soup is making for the baby, don't be surprised. We do that very often. So I think that sense of sharing, being together with other people is what is missing. And we just want to remind other Scrantonians here that is very important. Don't be too busy. Know your neighbor. Have time to reach out to the neighbor and say hello. Very important. Thank you.
Very nice. I like that advice, Ushu. We should spread the word more often. Chandra, I have the same question about your country. What is something important that you'd like your friends and neighbors to know about your country?
Hi, I'm Chandra and I'm Bhutanese refugee. And I was born and raised in Bhutan. And Bhutan is a small landlocked country between China and India. And there is no human rights and written constitution in Bhutan. In early 1990s, a member of an ethnic minority population living in southern Bhutan began to flee rising level of violence and persecution at the hand of Bhutanese government. The people of southern Bhutan were denied their citizen and rights to practice their religion and culture. The group of people eventually sought the protection of UNHCR that established 7 refugee camps in eastern Nepal, and I am the one of the refugee from there. And I stay more than 2 decades in refugee camp, and I used to work as a health worker for 10 years as a volunteer, and I came in Scranton in 2010. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you very much, Chandra. Thank you. Anas, I have the same question for you. What is something important that you'd like your friends and neighbor in Wilkes-Barre to know about your country?
Yes, sure. Honestly, Syria, it's a very, very beautiful country. We have the oldest city in the world called Damascus. That's the capital of Syria. And sometimes when people heard about Syria, they might think about ISIS or stuff like that, or killed or bombs. Before the war, I spent almost 18 years in my life there. I raised all my life in Syria. I never had any problem. I used to walk during the night, during the day. No one stopped me, no one harmed me, nothing at all. So all the Syrians, they are friendly, kindly, nicely. I am not talking about myself. The whole Middle Eastern people, they know Syria, how the Syrian people, they are always kindly and nice to any international person go to Syria. And Syria, it's the only country, it was before the war, people, they come to visit, they come because we have a lot of nice places, our beach, our weather, it's amazing during the summer. So most of the countries come for vacation in Syria. And after the war, I recommend to you guys to go visit there if you have time or if you have a chance, that's the most I'm gonna, I think, mention. Additional to that, the food, the Syrian food is the best.
Absolutely, I can guarantee that. Thank you, Anas. Thank you. And
You are welcome.
we hope someday we can go and visit Syria free. Very good.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
Yes, we won't get into a competition of whose food is the best. We tasted, some of you on the call may have had a chance to visit our, come to our Global Taste of Scranton events, and we did actually taste each of the foods of the different cultures and communities. So I will let everyone be their own judge, but
true.
but thank you. So we have another question before we open things up to the audience for any questions you might have. And this is again in thinking about the final kind of element of the theme, which is to shine. Many times we think of refugees and immigrants only with the stories that are the difficulties and the challenges, and that's extremely important. As we heard tonight, these are stories that are the things that come before each of our panelists, things that they have overcome, that their families are continuing to be a part of their history for all times. And then there is also how many accomplishments and things that they have brought to our community. So we asked them to each reflect on an accomplishment or something that they're proud of since resettling here in the United States, here in Scranton. So Ushu, you can start us off again.
Sure, thank you. Plenty of accomplishments. Let me start with myself. I think I'm very happy, and I should say thank you to the university for having given me a chance. When I came here, I think I was already 20, and there was no hope that I was going back to high school to finish anything like that. And that would still also make me feel bad. But much as I did not have my documents here, I was lucky not to, start making phone calls here and there asking for the documents to be transferred. So I had to do my GED, and after that, I was lucky to receive this good scholarship from the University of Scranton, where I'm working on my bachelor's degree in political science. And inshallah, as Anas would like to say, next year in May, I'll be graduating. So that's an accomplishment. On looking at the community, still on education, many of our children have graduated. Some are also graduating from different colleges around with associate's degrees, at least for now. And I like that. Many of these children would never have gotten a chance of finishing, let's say, high school and going to do a 2-year program or a 4-year program. Universities are very expensive there, and being refugees and the poverty we came from, that was a nightmare. Besides school, I believe we also have a few people who are running small businesses, both online and offline, and they are making some money. We've seen many of our families also buy houses, which is a good thing. I wish I had a picture, on the screen here, but if you look at the houses we lived in refugee camps, well, it's a luxury. When someone buys a house, $150,000 here, that's a good house, lives with the children, and, being safe, the security, allows them to do most of these things compared to the countries we come from, and including in the refugee camps. So in terms of achievements, I think we've had many children graduate. That's a very good thing because it sets a direction for the future. Business, yes, we want people to make money and they have to live like Americans. This is a place open for business. They have to be involved, of course. That's the way they can, they can live a life that they want to live. And what else? I think in terms of achievements, yes, I'll talk about education, business, and property that they're purchasing. Thank you.
Thanks, Ushu. And that's a theme we know also, again, when we think back of other earlier communities of making sure that education is a top priority. So I hear that that's also for our communities now. So Chandra, if you also want to speak to this question of accomplishments and things that you're proud of here in Scranton.
Thank you, Julie. Yeah, we came to Scranton in the year 2012 with my 2 daughters, my wife, and my mother and my elder sister. We were secondary migration here in Scranton, so nobody helped us. Only those who came directly from refugee camp to Scranton, they used to get support from their agency. Even to apply food stamp, job application, housing assistance, and official paperwork, I did all by myself. I got a job in GCMC, that means Gashinga CMC Hospital as a CNA. In the as a CNA, and in the year 2014, we got naturalized, and I bought a house in Southside Scranton. We formed the Bhutanese Cultural Foundation Scranton Association and bought a community hall for community purpose. We started ESL class, citizenship class, Nepali language class, yoga, meditation class. We also got 10 sewing machines from Sewa International, that's from Indian community as a gift. We also conducted like a nutrition education classes, which was supported by Dr. Sharma and his co-worker from Gashinga CMC Hospital. We also organized like a mental health and social prevention training. So far, we escalate more than 7,302 cases here in Scranton. This year, we did couple times food drive for COVID-19 and low-income families. We got 5,000 grants for COVID-19 from Scranton Area Foundation. We used that money. We brought like we bought masks, sanitizer, gloves, and distributed to the community people. We organized COVID vaccine clinic 3 times in our center. 614 people got COVID vaccine, which was supported by Commonwealth Health PA, UNC, and Area Agency on Aging. We actively participated in 2020 census, and BCMSA was awarded by 2020 Census Bureau. Nowadays, we remain in touch with SPD, Area Agency on Aging, UNC, City Scranton, and other local agencies. Since I naturalized, I am proud to be a US citizen and taxpayer of this country. Thanks.
Very good.
Thank you, Chandra. And lastly, Anas, if you can tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're proud of and the accomplishments. You told us a little bit about that already, but I'm sure you have more to share also.
Yeah, definitely. I'm proud to be first of all a part of this community, because all of them, they are amazing. And honestly, when I came, I wasn't speaking English at all. And in the beginning, I was planning to go back because it was really hard. Like, you have no background, like you have no idea what's English mean. Like, when I heard someone speaking English, all I heard like blah, 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 blah. I know what's nothing. So I said, like, how I'm gonna do it? My family, like, each time we need anything, we have to ask for help. Like, see your life, how hard it is. If you want to go to grocery store, if you want to buy things, if you want to like buy clothes, anything in your during life, you need the language. So I ended by like, I said, like, here you go. I'm gonna start learning. I'm gonna like make it. I'm not gonna just sit down and ask him for help all my life. So that's what's make all my life, my family and I moved, because I start learning and I start helping my parents and my siblings with the language. So basically, I am right now the household of everything. My siblings, my parents, anything in the United States, I'm the responsible on it. And even my siblings in the school, my parents give me permission to be as a parent, but I'm basically not, you know what I mean? So that's the language. And when I graduate recently, I thought about it after I graduate. I was sitting down by myself. I said, like, hey, like, wait a second. From my mom's side, my dad's side, all of them, because of the war, they left Syria. So none of any one of them children finish school or graduate from college. So when I thought about it, I was the only one to graduate in the entire family. So that's something, honestly, it's really nice. Even my parents, they are really happy. And I never thought I'm gonna be graduate from United States in that age when I came with no English at all. So it's really hard. And when I came, before I came to United States, I was a barber. When I came, I didn't have any license with me. So I want to work, and everyone says like, you need a license. So I ended up by, I had the license last December as a barber. So I am officially a barber, you know, and I work in Kingston at the high-class barber shop. If anyone would like to have a haircut, welcome to come.
Thank you, Anas. And I wish we were all together to really give a proper applause for this round, because really what you talked about of buying homes and opening businesses and educating your children and, you know, all of these things, learning English. As Anas knows, I learned a little bit of Arabic and I still only have a couple words. So I know how difficult it is to learn a new language, especially as an adult. It's a huge challenge. So really, it's really an amazing accomplishment. So we're applauding for you all in the virtual space. And now we can move to some questions from the audience. I see one here coming in from Norma, but anyone who would like to offer a question, you can let us know if you'd like to offer it live, and you can we can let you unmute yourself, or you can type it into the chat. But Chandra is asking, Norma is asking, I think just this idea of so some of you came to Scranton immediately, and then others came from, like Chandra talked about, through New York City. So Anas, did you come right to Scranton? And then she wants to know about how difficult has it been to adjust to the winter weather?
Yeah, that's different situation. So yeah, until now, I'm still having a hard time, honestly. And I might end in Florida. So who knows? But I came to United States 2015, January 8th. I spent one night in New York City in the hotel, and then I came to 44 in like nearby Kingston. I don't know if you know 44. So yeah, like Scranton, basically, it was right away, like from Jordan to Scranton. I spent 3 years in Jordan. And as I said, we had almost a whole year interviewing us. They told us like we have to travel outside of the country, but they don't tell us where until the last 3 weeks before we came to United States. They said, you are going to United States. So basically we don't know where we are going until like they told us, and that's happened almost 3 weeks before the flight. Because they were doing them background check and stuff like that. And the weather, it's very difficult. It's really, really difficult for me in person. Like I couldn't like live my life, all of it, in that long winter, because like whole winter snow. We have very, very huge driveway and like sidewalk. I'm spending all my day shoveling. That's all I do every single day. I'm not gonna let my parents to shovel. So I'm basically having my gloves on and keep shoveling all day and spray the snow salt, you know. That's all I do in the winter. So it's really tough. But I'm trying to like stay quiet on it, you know, until I find maybe a way to run to Florida or some warm weather.
Don't leave us yet, Anas, but sorry, we can't change the weather. But I saw lots of smiles because none of us like to shovel the snow. I make my children do it now, so that helps a lot.
That's good. That's good.
So any questions also for the audience, please just offer them in the chat or let us know if you'd like to raise your hand. I see also just a comment from Dr. Marwan Wafa at Penn State. He's saying, thank you for sharing your stories. I commend you for your accomplishments thus far. Keep up the good work. So thank you for that, Dr. Wafa.
Thank you so much, Dr. Wafa. Marwan Al-Wafa, that's
the chancellor at Penn State, Scranton, Penn State here in the city of Scranton.
Okay.
Sonia and I had another question that we wanted to also ask. Sonia, did you want to ask another question?
Yeah, I always ask my refugees, what do you like about America and what's your kind of not dislike, but what it's strange for you. What do you like most about America, and what do you think it's kind of strange? Ushu, can you start? Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, United States, it's everyone I think dreams like to come, but you have to know how you start or how you like step up. You know what I mean? So what I like about United States, it has a lot of opportunities, a lot. In person, I worked many jobs here, many jobs. Delivery, transportation, construction, carpet replacing. I am like my original job, it's a barber, but when the pandemic came and everything shut down, our salon closed, so I couldn't work anymore, and I have to pay my bills and stuff like that. So I become as a DoorDash driver, and I used to make easily 700 weekly. So yeah, like 700 in bucket, that's amazing. In the pandemic, everyone sitting in his house, they can't like make $1. So it has a lot of opportunity to build yourself. So that's what I love here. If you be alone, still you can build yourself. Like you don't have to be with, for example, a group to work to build yourself. As like back home, we have to keep helping each other until you pass away. If someone alone will have very tough life. Here you can do it. That's what I really like about here. And people helps me with them words a lot of times. Like they always push me up, increase me, like say, oh, that's nice, you did this, like like not give you like decrease you, like from the opposite way. So always they have like, for example, one time I want to just do a shortcut as example. I was about to stop the college. Like I'm not gonna study anymore because of the accounting. It was really hard. I went to the teacher. I said, I'm gonna drop. So I'm gonna drop from school. And she like sit down with me in the office, in her office, and she goes, tell me about you. Tell me like what happened. I explained to her, and she said, wait, you still have time. You try, and I will give you another class if you have time. After this class, I will let you to stay one more class, like listening to 2 classes during a day, and I think you will be good. Just if you have any question, come back to me. And I said, okay. I tried, and it worked out. And I walked in the end of the semester with B+. So like, that's what I like about United States. You know what I mean? Like people always push you up, but you have to move. You know what I mean?
Very good. Very
you.
good. Thank you, Anas. Thank you. Ushu, what do you think about that?
Yes, people don't like talking about politics, but I can speak about politics the whole day, the whole night. For me, it's food, it's drink, it's everything. Now, why am I saying this? I always ask myself one question: when did I consent to a creation of government? And the only place that gives me an answer, and I want to say this, the US has one gift that it gave to the world, and that's its form of government. Now, you might say, why is Ushu saying this? I come from a country where your vote means nothing. I come from a country where people are corrupt. I come from a country where there is complete absence of security. And this country provides all this. So if I'm to see 2 things, it's, I think, the form of government here. People may not agree with me, but I think it's efficient, it's effective to the way it looks after its people. I've never seen that where I come from. A government that lets people elect who their leaders should be, that's a gift. So those are the things that I usually point out, because when we come here, we see the way things are done, the way people can apply for assistance, for example, the way people can walk at night and there is nothing that happens to them, you know. There is plenty of assistance, just like the way Anas is saying, but I can't give credit to all these things because I think they're all as a result of what government is in place, what form of government is in place. So that's one thing that really fascinates me, because this government here has given a gift to the world, its form of government, a government that allows people to consent to who governs them. So for me, that is something that I really like about being here in the US. And if there is anything, if I ever happen to go back home, inshallah again, that's what I want to take in. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Chandra, how about you?
Yeah, thank you, Sonia. And you know, the most important things I like in America is like nobody is dying without food. We are getting like food stamps and Medicaid. And one day when I was in Bronx, I went to food stamp office. I saw more than 500 people were in the waiting room. They are all for waiting for food stamps. When I saw that crowd, I was so surprised, you know. And when we were in refugee camp, our expectation was very high, because the agency people, they used to tell us, if you go to US, you're gonna have like better opportunity, free education, free health benefit, free citizen, you're gonna become rich soon. But when we came here, that was not true. Nothing is free here, but this is a country of an opportunity. There is says that where there is will, there is way. So no pain and no gain. If you knock, it shall be open to you. So be always positive, keep doing good work. Thanks.
Thank you, Chandra. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Julie?
Yeah, so I want to thank our panelists. We had a wonderful conversation tonight. And like I said, normally we'd be in Naog Park and be able to give each other a hug and also be able to share each other's food and music and dance. So we hope that that will come back again next year. But in the meantime, we really want to just thank our panelists. So Chandra, Anas, and Ushu for sharing tonight from the stories of your family, of your community, for all that you've accomplished in our community, because you are giving so much to our own city. When we talked about, again, buying homes and being taxpayers and being US citizens, this is a wonderful thing for the city of Scranton to be proud of as well, that we can continue to be a place of welcome. So I think that we will sign off there. I've seen a couple of comments and questions here. We will be sending the recording out. Again, want to thank Catholic Social Services, and Sonia, if you want to share any final comments, or if our panelists, if you had a final comment that you wanted to share, please go ahead.
I just want to thank everybody joined here. That's why I'm doing my job for 17 years, because of you guys. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you for everyone. Thank you for everyone joining us.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you, Sonia. Thank you for all audience. It was my great honor to be present here with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I just want to say, visit us when you can, and please, if you're a neighbor to a Congolese, make sure you knock and say hello. That's important. And if someone knocks asking for salt, don't be surprised. It's normal.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you.
And happy World Refugee Day.
Thank you, you too. Thank you.